when you came back under Cockers, playing under Mitch, we were attack-minded. Under Cockers, it was even more open, wasn't it? Even more pressure on the defence to.
Well, you guys watched it. God, dear, yeah, it was. I mean, great times, great time. Listen, playing under Mitch was fantastic. I love Mitch. I thought he was a great manager. I thought great charisma. But he had a good team. He had a good team there. He had players. He had players that knew what they were doing. You know, he didn't. Without being disrespectful to Mitch, the team near enough picked itself, apart from one or two maybe decisions that he had to deal with. But he had good players. You know, good players and the same. I mean, to be fair, the same with Cockers to a certain extent. You know, Cockers took over, and I remember coming back. Chesham first game back 5-3. Was it 5-3? Martin Gurney got man of the match. I should have got man of the match. There's a tester for you, Tavs. Look, was it 4-2 or 5-3? 4-2.
Yeah.
4-2. 4-2. And I remember walking back in the change room, and it was just fantastic. It was like, well, you know, being back at home. Really, being back at home, it was great. Walked in. I don't know whether Cockers had told the boys. I don't think he told the boys. I don't know whether they knew. And it was, and this is the difference as well, Taz, because I came back, and you know, there was a lot of the players there that were still there. You know, that had been there when I played under Mitch, or you know, not maybe going back to Lasher, because it was a different. It had evolved since Lasher's reign, you know, and Mitch brought in a lot of different players, but. You know, Clarkey, Riz, I think Clarkey, Riz was there. It was just Gurns. It was lovely. You know, 1-4-2. I'll tell you who was playing, Brian Steen, because I remember actually passing the ball to his feet, and he couldn't believe it. A centre half passed the ball to his feet. He didn't have to move for it.
That was a season. Clarkey put 6.
There's a little grenade, just a little grenade thrown in there, chaps. Yeah.
That was a season, Muddy. Clarkey put 6 past Hillen Borough in the FA Cup, but of course you got a crucial goal that game that put them out of it.
What's that? Another goal, Dave?
Another goal. You played when the kick-ins were in. What was that like for a central defender? Just a bit more defending to do.
Well, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, wasn't it? You know, I mean, we were the only team not to do it, and we all agreed with Cockers at the end of the day, because all we did was it just took so much skill factor and passing out of the game. You know, it was just from anywhere, the halfway line, all of a sudden people just... Well, having said that, it obviously played to my strengths as well, because there was, because obviously myself and Merv, whether it was myself and, you know, whoever, or Webbo, it was obviously Webbo was the time then, but, you know, heading, you know, my attributes of heading came in a lot and came to the fore a lot more, didn't they, really? You know, it was just... I couldn't work out where that rule came from and who actually thought that was a good idea, you know.
It's as bad for the game as VAR, Kev. 95-96 season, we went out of the FA Cup final qualifying round at Hitchin. You scored that day. They went on to beat Bristol Rovers, was it, in the first round, which paid for the money for the new terrace they've got. Well, say new terrace, 25 years old now. Following year, Bristol City. You got memories of it?
Oh, yeah. God, Bristol City. Alan Randall was manager, Erskine Smart's assistant. And to be fair, Alan spoke to me before the game about what his intentions were. I spoke to Paul, went down to his... and he had everyone on... look, when I was manager, Alan came in as my assistant. I love Alan to bits. He said he told me what his formation, what his thoughts were, his formation. We were going to go 3-5-2, to which I wasn't too happy with that, because I thought at the end of the day we should be going 5-3-2 rather than that, and just trying to. But we went 3-5-2. He left Riz out of the side, which I thought wasn't great. Should have played Riz. I didn't necessarily agree. Blackie was on the bench as well. I would have definitely played Riz. Blackie, maybe not. He was 50-50, but Riz should have started. And I remember was it Bashir? What was it? Martin Bashir? Right wing. He was playing right wing back. Do you remember the little
Bashir?
guy?
Nassim Bashir.
Yeah. Was it a singer? Nassim Bashir playing right wing back, and they had Usain Bolt playing left wing. Yeah. You know, this guy was just, you know, I'm not being funny. I don't think I could have caught him in my car. Never mind running with him. Yeah, this guy, he scored a hat trick after 20 minutes. It was, we were overrun. We were, you know, we were all over the place. And what was it? Was it 5-0 half time?
I think it was, yeah. Yeah.
The game was done after 25 minutes. The game was done after 25 minutes. I thought we were a little bit naive with the way we sort of, our tactics that day should have been a little bit sharper, should have played it, we should have been a bit more defensive and realised maybe instead of taking the game to them, let us try and do something on the counter attack and hopefully have a good keeper has a good day, and we're very fortunate. But it was a great day, and my everlasting memory of that day are two things. Is Andy Polston's dad and his mate. They loved the fact that they had Caffrey's on draft in the clubhouse. So they had a thoroughly good day. But it was also one of the Saints fans managed, because we obviously, the second half, we scored 2 goals, and they had the game on loop. They had the game in the bar afterwards on video, and someone had managed to get hold of the remote control, and all they kept doing was rewinding and playing our 2 goals. I remember that distinctly in the bar afterwards. So someone had got hold of it, and to be fair to them, listen, they won the game 9-2, wasn't it, Dave, in the end? 9-2. Not one of our better moments, but we stayed up. A few of us stayed up. My brother came up, and there was 2 of my brothers rather came up. So there was, I think there was about 10 of us, 4 or 5 couples stayed up, and we had a really good time on a Saturday night up in Bristol. We stayed the night. We went out in Bristol, and we celebrated our 9-2 loss.
Well, we'll move on a couple of years from there, Kev, to your final season, which was a year of the FA Trophy run. Your final season as a player, I should say. That was another season where, like now, we were going for promotion and we had the FA Trophy run. How do you think that compares to this season? Well, we got an FA Trophy game coming up this Saturday against Chesham. 2 days later, we got a league game at Bristol City. As a player, which is the most important?
Cups and trophies are always more important. You know, they're always, as a player, you know, you love cup runs, you love trophy runs. I mean, St Albans fans will always come out for trophy and cup runs. They're coming out more now for league. You know, we're up and down in the league a little bit, but we've got a great trophy. Trophy is fantastic. I mean, to get to Forest Green away, yeah, God dear, 2-0 up, 2-0 up. I mean, I was injured at the time. Mick Bodley was playing centre half with Ashley Vickers. Would I have played in the final? Don't know, to be fair, in all fairness, because, you know, you talk about 2 quality players there. And would I have got myself back into the team? Don't know, in all fairness. But to be 2-0 up, and also Junior McDonald scored a perfectly good goal. The referee was, I don't know what planet the referee was on that day. Could have been got in 3-0 at half time, got in 2-0 at half time. And we sat deeper and deeper. And when you're watching from the side, you can see it. You can see it happening. We're inviting them on. We thought we'd done enough, and they nicked it through too. And ironically, that was, I think that was the last competitive match at the old Wembley, if I'm right. I'm not sure, Dave.
It was, yeah.
I might stand correct here, but I think that was the FA Trophy. It was Kingstone, because we stayed in the same hotel Kingstonian stayed at. So Kingstonian had won on the Saturday, and they were staying at the hotel on the Saturday night, and we were staying there as well. And I forget who they beat,
Cheltenham,
but yeah, they beat Cheltenham, did they? And yeah, because I remember Jeff Chappell. Was there because he was Kingstonian manager at the time. I'm sure it was Jeff Chappell, and they won. And it was gutting. Absolutely, we had great fans. And Forest Green's in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? It's absolutely nowhere. Seriously, yeah. I mean, God knows how you guys got there, because Satnav had no chance. You need a compass and, like, you know, orienteering map or something. It was like, I couldn't believe it was in the middle, so far in the middle of nowhere. Fortunately, we spanked them this year, so we got a bit of payback, didn't we? Yeah. Bit of pay. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Is that right? Yeah.
It's
So it
22
was
years on, yeah.
22 years on, but it was there, and I remember Gary Hill. Gary Hill's in tears. He was really upset, and that coach journey home was not a good coach journey. Not a good coach journey, you know. But going back to what you're saying, Dave, I think players. Listen, players will always say, "Oh, yeah, the league and everything else because it's over the whole season and that." But you can't beat cup runs, you know. I mean, look at Forest Green. You know, Forest Green was a fantastic day for the club. You know, a sellout, everyone's there. And in all fairness as well, we played them. I thought we were the better team. Second half, I thought we played the better football. I don't think we were hanging on. I thought they underestimated us. They rested a few players through various reasons. We played some great football, and we got the result we deserved. It wasn't a hanging on where the goalkeepers made great saves and backs to the wall and everything. We played some great football. Admittedly, we went on to Boreham Wood, and we probably let ourselves down a little bit. Because I wasn't over impressed with them, but they did the job, didn't they? 4-0 flattered them, completely flattered them. 2-0 maybe 2-1. Just felt that a few players froze that day. Maybe our distribution could have been better. Listen, you can analyse and do post-mortems. We've had a great cup run. We've got a great squad of players. I think we're pushing for the playoffs. I don't think we've got enough in the locker to go up because there's too many. You know, you've got Maidstone, Ebbsfleet, Dartford. You've got ex-conference clubs that are there with big budgets, and they'll push on. It'd be interesting to see Saturday week what Maidstone are like. By the way, I'm co-commentating that day, Dave, on Radio Verulam, in case anyone, you know, and they want to have a little bit of a laugh with me and Graham. You know, just thought I'd throw that one in there.
At the end of the 98-99 season, you stopped playing. You became manager of the reserves, first of all, and after 9 games, manager of the first team. Was it something you wanted to do, particularly be manager, or was it something that was offered to you and was too good to turn down?
Yeah, it was the latter. I was offered before Gary Hill came in. Lee Harding spoke to me and what's his name? Harris. Who was the coach at the time?
Terry Harris.
Terry Harris, yeah. Sorry, blimey, I had a mental block then. Terry Harris. So he pulled me and Terry and said, "Listen, I want you two guys to run the team." You know, and I don't know whether you knew that, Dave. Did you know that? He spoke to us before Gary came in. He spoke to us and said, "Listen, I want you to." Oh, he said, "Certainly till the end of the season, I want you guys." He'd obviously he'd had a dust up with Bob. No, sorry, that was when Jimmy Nagle went. When Jimmy Nagle went, that was. Let me get. Is that right? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. When Jimmy went, yeah. Because when I mean, in all fairness to Jimmy, sorry, I'm going off at a tangent, but I'll come back round to where we're going. But it was Jimmy, bless him, Jimmy. I felt so sorry for Jimmy because I was actually phoning players up. Martin Gurney was about, John Richardson was around, and I approached Jimmy and said to him, "Look, there's a couple of guys here, seasoned players. What we've got to." But he said, and Jimmy said to me, "Well, they're not players for the future." And I said, "Well, Jimmy, the way you're going, you won't be here in the future. So we need to try and consolidate and stop the rot. That's what we need to do. We've got a lot of young players, but we need a bit more experience around these young players." And unfortunately, Jimmy ended up getting the sack. And then Lee approached me and Terry, spoke to us about it. And then we said no. And then Gary, to be fair, Gary came in, bang, changed the mindset. I remember we played perfectly away. Ashley Vickers on the coach, bang, went down there. Robbie Hayward scored 1-0. We were under the cosh a bit, but we won 1-0. And he just installed straight away. He just came in and installed a regime of discipline. There was this, that, and the other. And also he brought a few players in as well. But going back to the question in hand, it was probably too good to turn down, Dave. But it was never. Looking back with hindsight, I had a young family at the time. I was just starting a business at the time, and I remember distinctly having 4 phones, 4 mobile phones. And George, bless him, came. I got out of the shower one night, and I was sitting on the bed, and all 4 phones wanted to go at the same time. And he's tugging my towel, saying, "Daddy's like, supper, dinner's ready." And I thought, this is like, you know, whatever people think of non-league, it's a full-time job. Yeah, so if you're going to be if you want to be a successful manager in non-league, you're a busy bee. Yeah, you got to be out there. You've got to be watching combination games, reserve games, other non-league games. You go to other clubs. You've got a network of contacts. You know, Ian Allinson is out of the pro game. He's fortunate enough to have, you know, that's the wrong word. He's worked up his contacts. Gary Hill had great contacts. But these guys, this doesn't happen overnight. These guys do their homework and they do their legwork as well. They go and watch games. They'll go and watch games. They might go and watch 2 games a night. They might go and watch a game in the afternoon and then another game in the evening. And I didn't give it what it deserved. You know, I didn't give the job sort of maybe the respect and if you like, the homework, the actual legwork, the job involved. And for me, it was, you know, I mean, Lee gave me the chance. People will say what they like about Lee Harding. I crossed swords with him at the end because he sort of threw me under the bus a little bit. But having said that, I didn't realise how much the job would entail. You know, if you want to be successful, that is. You know, if you want to be successful. I enjoyed the management time, but it's nowhere near the same as playing. Nowhere near the same as playing. Yeah, and when you lose as a manager, it hurts so much more because you've picked the team, your selections. It's all on you. You know, it is all on you. And I remember who was a centre forward? Did we have Martin Randall, centre forward, signed from Hayes?
Yeah.
I would have loved to have marked him. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
You were put out of your misery after 37 games, Kev. Were you ever tempted to go back into coaching or anything after that?
A little bit. I dipped my toe in the water, Dave, with a little bit of coaching, bits and pieces over at Hemel with Gary Phillips. But another one where if you want to be successful at something, you've got to do the groundwork, and you've got to go and look at the way other people coach and just techniques all the time. Everything evolves in football. You know, nothing stands still, does it? You know, and I don't. Do I miss it? You know, would I like to get back involved in football? No, not really. I quite enjoy being involved with St Albans, sponsoring bits and pieces there. I'd like to think if there was a new stadium involved, would I be involved in some capacity there? Possibly. Maybe there's too many of the old guard that are not involved, but whatever. You know, it's sort of. No, I think you've got my enthusiasm now has waned from the coaching point of view, where I leave it to the younger guys now. Leave it to the younger guys coming through with the energy, enthusiasm, and also with the research. With the research is going on all the time, and everything changes. There's so much changes in the game, you know.
Right, Lee, Jake. Anything from you?
I mean, I'm glad you're not into the coaching, Kevin, because I mean, who's going to lead the chanting on the train to Boreham Wood before the cup games? I mean, you were something else that night. You had the whole train going.
That was Jake. That was the best part of the evening.
So you know that's it. But I think what I love about you, Kevin, is obviously you know you had your time in the club, you fell out with the club, you know, over certain things, you come back every time. And that you're still involved now, sponsors-wise, etc. I think it's brilliant that, and as you say, I think it'd be great to see more of the old guard like yourself involved in whatever capacity, even if it's just on the terraces. So I think you're a legend, and I think you're more of a legend now for getting drunk with the fans, having a good time, and supporting the club that you love.
And putting up the hopefully, Jake, keeping the boys dry, yeah. Exactly. On both ends of the ground. We've been crying out for some sort of shelter. So one of the lads, it didn't make me laugh. I went to the toilet round by Clarence Park, round the back of the stand, and as I walked out, someone shouted, Muddy, thanks for keeping that. It was Corinthian Casuals, and it was a poxy night. Yeah, absolutely lashing down with rain. So, listen, I love the club, boys. I love it. I remember vividly. I remember when Ray ran the bar, and I remember coming out of there at 2:00 in the morning. You know, obviously I went running the next day. Yeah, just to clarify. Yeah, and we had great times. Alan Farmer catching bread rolls as he's a goalkeeper. With Gareth Howells throwing bread rolls, he's catching bread, and he pulled me about it as well. But just great fans, great times, you know. And you know, I was fortunate enough to play. Listen, Jake, Lee, Dave, I was fortunate enough to play at a really good time with really good fans and really good football. You know, under Mitch and Alan Cochrane. I mean, we had. You'd go up in the bar and there'd be Roy Edwards. He'd have like a clothes rail in the corner, you know. So he's selling all this stuff in the corner, and you go to the other corner and there'd be Barry Blackman selling a load of jewellery, you know. The camaraderie and the spirit was just fantastic. And just, you know, the one thing you will always miss is the banter. You know, you'll always miss the banter and you'll always miss the crack, and it always goes. But what I would say was it was a great time because all the boys would come up in the bar and they'd have a drink, you know. They'd have a drink, they'd talk to the fans, you know. And rightly or wrongly, listen, if we played shite, then, you know, you take a bit of criticism, and that's what you know, that, because you're getting paid to play. You're getting paid to play, so you should produce. If you don't produce, you have to take the criticism. But the fans would, you know, a lot of St Albans fans, knowledgeable fans about football. They didn't just come out with a load of old cobblers. They'd be constructive with what they'd say, and you could argue the toss with a couple of things. You know, football's a game of opinions, and that's the beautiful thing about the game is everybody's got a different opinion, and you could sit 11 people in a pub and ask them to pick an England team, and that's the rest of the day gone. That is the rest of the day gone because everyone thinks differently. And it was just, you know, it's I love the club. Always have loved the club. I love the people down there. I remember Keith Williams when he ran the tea bar, Ray when he ran the bar, you know, and when he used to get me on the Bacardi Spice and Amarettos, that was probably the 2:00 in the morning touch. But great times, you know, and hopefully. Listen, unfortunately, for the club to progress as it is, it needs to move. It needs to move. You know, they've tried different things, and rightly, listen, whether you like Lawrence and John for what they're trying to do, if it wasn't for those two, the club wouldn't be there, guys. Well, it would be, but we wouldn't be at the level we are. Personally, I don't think we'd be at the level we are. You know, and we need, and also you know, you look. We're going back to St Albans. We're talking about Stevenage games. You know, the games we used to have against Boreham Wood, and look at how they've progressed, and we've stood still. You know, Stevenage are now a professional football club. Boreham Wood are now in the fourth round. Sorry, the FA Cup, knocking on the door of professional. You know, playing professional football, and we're a city with a capacity of X amount of people that really should have a location just outside the city, purpose-built stadium, an academy running, two couple of 3G AstroTurfs, banked in suites, so you can make money off the pitch as well as on the pitch. And I'd like to hopefully think that will be achievable for these two guys and their perseverance with the council. Obviously, real estate in St Albans is a lot different to Boreham Wood and Stevenage, and Stevenage got the council involved, and Boreham Wood he's got Arsenal involved, and he's also got the academy, you know. So listen, love the club, Jake. I love the club. I love you guys, and that was great. You know, getting on the train down there, and that's what it's about. You know, that's what it's about. We all listen. I'm like you guys. Listen, I'm a supporter now. You know, I was just fortunate enough to be, you know, to play football with guys back in the day, and had some great times, some really. You know, and we kept, you know, good memories and good mates. You know, good mates. I went up to Liverpool for Erskine Stag do, you know, with a load of nutty armed coppers, you know, but they weren't armed at the time, chaps. Yeah, that's who he works with now, obviously. You know, we used to, you know, Andy Paulson I speak to quite regularly. Riz now and again, and Clarky. We used to go out. You know, What back in the day, used to have families used to come to the game, and you make sure if any girlfriend or wife was there, the boys would, she wouldn't be left on her own. You know, if the boys came up in the bar, they'd always be talking. Especially me, I was one of the last to come up in the bar. I was still with the brothers downstairs in the changing room. You know, taking my time, relaxing.
You're still the last one to the bar now, aren't you, Kev?
What's that, mate?
You're still the last one to the bar now, aren't you?
Oh,
Lee,
last one to leave. Last one to leave the bar, Dave. Last one to leave the bar.
Lee, have you got a final point?
Yeah, Kev, we go back years and years and years. Ever since I interviewed you for the first ever fanzine. It was after a midweek game. You came into the bar. You got me in like a massive headlock. Woodsy, what's you doing here, son? And from then we sort of stoked a relationship together. We've argued, we've rowed, we've kissed, we've hugged, we've cheered together. One question. You've been manager of this club. You've been a captain. You've been a player. Is there one conversation you've had in any of that time that you would have changed over, whether it be with an argument with a player or the chairman or an agent or a potential player?
Oh, one conversation. Wow. Oh. I would have liked to have a conversation with Steve Ketteridge, but that never appeared. That never came to the fore.
One thing I'm going to say to you, though, Kev, is that you raised a point about us not being at the level we are without the owners. And I think there is a correlation here because obviously Lee Harding was my boss for 20 odd years, and I got the inside sort of track on how the club was really run at that time. When Bernard was there, and he was, we finished second, and we got to the trophy, and we had a cup run. He said, "If I leave, God knows where the club's going to be. It's going to be in ruin." He left, and then Lee Harding came in, and we finished second religiously. We were 20 minutes away from a Wembley final. He said, and he put in £500,000. He said, "If I leave, the club's going to go bust." John Gibson came in. We got promotion into the conference. He said, "When I go, club's going to be on its absolute knees," and it almost was. And then John and Lawrence came in, and look where we are now. So there is a progression, and I think you're absolutely right. There will always be a St Albans City in what guise it may be. We don't know, but I think, and as you rightly say, we have to have the support of the council. We're going to get anywhere. Money will only get you so far. Aspirations will get you so far. We've got to have the support of the council if we're to progress as a football club.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And I know that Lawrence and John have rubbed a few people up the wrong way with what they're trying to do. And listen, it's difficult to keep all the people happy all the time, especially considering football, because it is very opinionated sport, and people, there's a lot of passion and there's a lot of emotions involved. I think personally, I think at the moment, I think Ian Allenson. This is I'll put it another way as well. We were relegated as far as I was concerned before Ian came in. Yeah, Lawrence put the young lad, the coach. Where is he now? What's his name? He's
Harry Wheeler.
Yeah. Where is he now? Where's he now, Dave?
I don't think he's anywhere at the moment.
I thought he was involved. So anyhow, he put him in. Ian came in and did a absolutely fantastic job. His form in the last 12 matches was sort of promotion form. I think we won 10, lost 1, and drew 1 or something like that. Rough stats, Dave. Don't get too involved now. Yeah. And I think he's evolved the club and evolved the squad all the time. I just think it's a totally different ball game is now, because it's it's like all this kissing the badge. Yeah, I mean, what's all that cobblers? You know what I mean? That's just such a. We were fortunate enough to play where players. We played. You look at Clarkey, myself, Riz, Erskine. 200-300 games. You knew players each season, but going back to what you're saying, I think listen, if John and Lawrence pulled out tomorrow, the club would still survive. But I just don't think it would be the standard. I think it would be a supporters-run club, and it would go down the leagues, and it would be what it would be. You know, I think to have success, we need the backing of the council. We need a purpose-built stadium. I think if these two guys don't achieve it, I don't think it's ever going to be achieved, because obviously they've been at the club for 10 years. For the past 10 years, the progression is, you know, they've tried different bits and pieces. You know, we have a reserve team now. We have youngsters coming through, albeit where people say, oh, well, you know, listen, the youngsters coming through, they need blood in, and they need to play Hearts County football against men so that they're ready to play against men when they're 17, 18 coming through. And look at the lad that scored against Corinthian Casuals. What a great goal that was, and what a player that is to go on. And also, you start an academy. Hopefully, the ideal scenario, I can see St Albans being a professional football club. I would say within the next 10 years, personally, because also I can see us bringing academy players through, young players through. You only need to sell one of those with the sell-on clauses and everything else, and that creates more financial input. We just need to, hopefully, I can't believe a city of our size, there can't be somewhere that's found that they can build a stadium. But then, as people say to me, well, it's the infrastructure, it's everything else involved that you've got to look at. You can't just look at an area, you've got to look at everything else around the area, you know. But then they're talking about building thousands and thousands of houses on Greenbelt. So I personally think the stadium will happen. These two guys have put a lot of money in. There must be something in the mix. If they walk away, they walk away. The club won't fold without a shadow of a doubt. The club will still, St Albans City Football Club will continue, but it won't continue at the level it is. And also, hopefully, all of us, whatever personal grievances or whatever goes on, want the future of the club to be progressive and to get into the Football League. That's got to be the aim for everyone involved in the club, because, you know, over the years, that's all we wanted to do, is achieve the highest goal for the club. Unfortunately, what you will lose some, you know, like Clarence Park. You know, Clarence Park is an absolutely fantastic place. You know, it's an absolutely fantastic place. The bar, well, less said about the bar, the better, really, because it's always been rubbish and it always will be rubbish. Yeah, no, that's not to the people that run it. It's just the way it's situated. Yeah, but we've had some great times there. I've had some great times there. I've got a lot of love and affection for the place, a lot of love and affection for the supporters, and I'd love to see the club. I'd love to see what I would love to see the club do is to make the Football League, or alternatively win the FA Trophy at Wembley. There you go. That'll do this season, Woodsy. Yeah. But yeah, Woodsy, we'll toast that one. FA Trophy final. Yeah.
Right, thanks a lot, Kev. Harry Wheeler is now manager of Dover Athletics, so effectively, no, he's not involved in football.
Dave,
Dover Athletic.
Dover Athletic.
Wow.
Yeah. We've been going, Kev, for an hour and 25. We've got to cut it off, I'm afraid.
Oh no! You've got to let me get my winner in against Dover Athletic in the replay for Sittingbourne. That was in the FA Cup first round.
No.
I played against David Leeworthy up front, and he played for Spurs. Yeah, and I'd worked scaffolding all day. I was absolutely knackered, Dave. That's another story, though. That's another story.
Yeah, save it for the Dover the Sittingbourne podcast.
Sittingbourne. I'm a hero at Sittingbourne. You know that. I played 11 games. And I'm a hero. Yeah, because I scored against their absolute rivals. Yeah, there you go.
Kev, you legend. You absolute legend.
Boys, we're going to go and see what's happening with Arsenal. Good to see you.
No, thanks. Thanks a lot, Kev.
Don't forget, Dave, I'm co-commentating against Maidstone. I'm not there on Saturday because I'm playing golf at the Grove.
And if you need any scaffold, you know who to get to.
High altitude engineers. Been emotional, chaps.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Kev.
I'll see you soon, chaps.
See ya.
Take